Good morning, students. In last class, we have studied the structure of the heart, where here a heart consists of four chambers. Upper two chambers are called as auricles, and the lower two chambers are called as ventricles. So here the right side will consist of the deoxygenated blood is presenting in right auricle as well as right ventricle. On the left side will consist of the oxygenated blood, that is left auricle and left ventricle. So the auricles will having oxygenated, that is right auricle will consist of the deoxygenated blood, and the left auricle will consist of oxygenated blood by opening of bicuspid as well as the tricuspid valves. Here that means tricuspid as well as the bicuspid valves are opened. That blood will flows to respective ventricles. From ventricles again, that is blood is passed by opening of three semilunars. That is pulmonary semilunar valves and also aortic semilunar valves present at the base of aorta as well as pulmonary artery. That are by opening of these valves, the blood which is present in ventricles, that is passes, that is in left ventricle, the blood will by opening of aortic valves or aortic semilunar valves that passes through the different parts of the body through the aorta. Likewise, here the deoxygenated blood present in that is right ventricle will help, that is by opening of pulmonary semilunar valves. The deoxygenated blood enters from heart to lungs. Again from lungs, the blood is purified by the four pulmonary veins, that is carried to the left auricles. So here that means here deoxygenated blood which is presenting from upper parts as well as the lower parts, that is carried by inferior as well as the superior vena cava will brings deoxygenated from upper parts, and inferior will carries deoxygenated from lower parts. Again they enters into the right atrium. By opening of this atrium, that is consist of a valve, and also in the walls of the heart also will consist of, that is deoxygenated blood which is present in the walls of the heart, that is carried by the coronary sinuses into the right atrium. So that is open into the right atrium. It also open by enters into this right atrium, the deoxygenated blood. Here also the valve is presenting. So that is called as a Thebetius valve as well as a Eustachian valves are presenting, where these will helpful for there are 10 valves are presenting in the heart. Now second, this is about structure where we have studied in the last class. Now coming to the that is the conduction of heartbeat, the mechanism of heartbeat, mechanism of heartbeat. Or otherwise it is called as the cardiac cycle. Otherwise we can use the word as the cardiac cycle. So here how the mechanism of heartbeat is taken place, or otherwise we can call them as the heart, that is the cardiac cycle. So here what is the cardiac cycle means? Rhythmatic changes which is taken place in the heart, that is the auricle, the contraction of auricles and ventricles. That means rhythmatic contraction of auricles and ventricles is known as the cardiac cycle, or we can call that as a mechanism of the heart beat. So here rhythmatic, that means the cyclical changes, or we can use the rhythmatic or cyclical changes which is taken place in auricles and ventricles. So what is the blood is present in the auricles, that is passes to respective ventricles. From ventricles it is passes to different parts of the body. Again that blood which is carried by the auricles So here rhythmatic changes which is taken place. Here it can be defined as it can be defined as a rhythmatically changes or rhythmatical cyclical changes taken place rhythmatic changes taken place by auricles and by the auricles and ventricles. Ventricles is known as the cardiac cycle, or otherwise it's called as the mechanism of the heart beat. So here the rhythmatical changes which is taken place, that is auricles and ventricles. So here two words are presenting. One we can call as the systole, systole, and second one is the diastole. So the two words will represent that is the systole. Systole means the contraction phase of auricles and the ventricles. Auricles and the ventricles is known as the systole. That means the contraction phase of auricles, either auricle contraction or the ventricle contraction, together we can call as systole. What is systole means? The contraction phase of auricles and ventricles we can call as a systole. And the diastole. What is diastole means? The relaxation phase of the auricles, the relaxation phase of auricles and the ventricles. The auricles and the ventricles is known as the diastole. So here we will using two words. The contraction phase is called as a systole and the relaxation stage is called as the diastole. So here systole and diastole, they are rhythmatically cyclical changes taken place by the auricles and ventricles. That means once the auricles are contracted, the ventricles are in a relaxed state. The ventricles are contracted, the auricles are in a relaxed state will be taken place. So here simultaneously both that means auricles and ventricles both at a time, the contraction and the relaxation is not be taken place simultaneously. That is, one is contracted and another is relaxed, and one is contracted. Here auricles are contracted, the ventricles are in a relaxed state, and the ventricles are contracted, the auricles are in a relaxed state. So here the simultaneously this process will be taken place. So this type of process we can call as the cardiac cycle, or otherwise we can call as the mechanism of the heart beat. So here in this cardiac cycle, a cardiac cycle, it consists of the cardiac cycle consists of the three phases. It consists of three phases. It consists of the three phases. It consisting. The first one is the auricular systole. The auricular systole, and the second one is the ventricular systole, and lastly the third one is a joint, the diastole. So here it will consist of the three phases are presenting. That three phases are one we can call as the auricular systole, and the second one is called as a ventricular systole, and a third one is called as the joint diastole. So here what are these auricular systole, ventricular systole, and a joint, a diastole. One by one, now we'll discuss these are three phases. Now coming to the first one, that is the auricular systole. The first one is the auricular systole. So here auricular systole means the contraction phase of the contraction phase of the auricles is called as auricular systole. So in auricular systole, in the right auricle, in right auricle consists of right auricle contains the deoxygenated blood, and the left auricle contains the oxygenated blood. So here that is passing. So here when you taken place, these are the heart. So here it consists of the right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, the left ventricle. So here when you taken place, the right auricle will consist of deoxygenated blood and the left auricle will consist of the oxygenated blood. So by opening of the tricuspid and a bicuspid wall. So here in between auricles and ventricles will consist of a bicuspid, that is a tricuspid and the bicuspid walls are presenting. So here the valves. So here between right auricle and right ventricle, it consists of tricuspid valves are presenting, and in between left auricle and left ventricle will consist of bicuspid valve. By opening of the bicuspid and a tricuspid valves, here the blood will flows into respective ventricles, that is the deoxygenated blood which is present in right auricle that passes to the by opening of tricuspid valve that enters into the right ventricle. Likewise oxygenated blood which is present in left auricle, that is opening of bicuspid valve that passes to the left ventricle. So here the blood which is presenting in auricles, that is passes respective ventricles. So when the opening of bicuspid and a tricuspid valves, here that is the blood will flows from auricles to the ventricles. So once the ventricles are closed, here the auricles, that means the bicuspid and tricuspid valves are closed. Here it can able to produce the sound called as a lub. It produces a first sound called as a lub sound is produced, that is by the closing of a bicuspid as well as that is by closing of tricuspid and a bicuspid valves. Here the first sound is produced. That first sound we can call as a lub sound is produced. So for this, the auricular systole here, it takes place at 0 point, that means the time taken for the auricular systole is here at 0.15 seconds. It takes place at 0.15 seconds. It is taken place. That is here from 0.515 seconds. Here completely, here it is taken place. That will be taken place. The auricular systole, where the blood which is present in auricles, that is passes to the respective ventricles by opening of tricuspid and bicuspid valves, and due to the closing of this bicuspid and tricuspid valves, here the first sound is produced. That first sound produced by the heart, that is called as the lub sound is produces. Next, second one. If you see in this second one, that is a ventricular systole. The ventricular systole. Here, if you taken place the second one, the ventricular systole means here the contraction phase of the ventricles. The contraction phase of the ventricles. The contraction phase of ventricles is called as the ventricular systole. So here in the ventricular systole, here what happens? What is the blood present in the right auricle? Right auricle, not right ventricle. What is the blood? The deoxygenated blood which is present in right ventricle, and also left ventricle. In oxygenated blood is present in a left ventricle. So here what is the blood is presenting? The deoxygenated blood which is present in right ventricle by opening of the pulmonary, by opening of pulmonary semilunar valves. By opening of pulmonary semilunar valves, that deoxygenated blood that is carried by the pulmonary vein and carries to the lungs. That is carried to the lungs. And also here in the left ventricle, what is the oxygenated blood is presenting by opening of the aortic, the semilunar valves, through the aorta. That is through the aorta, that blood is passed through different parts of the body, that is transported. So here by closing of the semilunar valves, that is pulmonary semilunar valves as well as the aortic semilunar valves, by closing of the pulmonary semilunar valves present at the base of pulmonary artery, and also the aortic semilunar valves, and the aortic semilunar valves at the base of aorta. So here the closing of the pulmonary semilunar valves and also present at the base of pulmonary aorta, and aortic semilunar valves at the base of aorta. Here another sound is produced. That another sound is we can call as a dub sound, second sound. The second sound, that second sound we can call it as the dub. So here the first sound is the lub and second sound is the dub, where it is producing. That means lub sound is produced due to the closing of tricuspid and bicuspid valves, and the second sound is produced by the closing of the three seminal valves present at the base of pulmonary aorta, and the three seminal valves present at the base of aorta. So pulmonary artery as well as aorta, by closing of three seminal valves, here another sound is producing, that is the second sound, which can call as the dub sound. And here the ventricle systole will be taken place. The time is taken place. The time taken is 0.3, that means 0.30 seconds. It takes place 0.30 seconds. It is taken place. That means why it is taken place more time means when compared to the auricles systole, and when compared to the auricular systole, here ventricular systole will take more time. Why means here the blade have to pump to different parts of the body, again from different parts that is should be carried to the auricles. So here a little bit time will be taken place. So these are more time will be taken place in a ventricular systole. And also here ventricular systole, the ventricles are thick wall cells. Due to the thick wall cells, here due to the high pressure, they have to pump the blood to different parts of the body. Again from different parts, here deoxygenated blood should be carrying, so it takes place a more amount of the time is taken place when compared to an auricular systole. So here it takes place 0.30, that is 30 seconds, that means 50 seconds more is taken place by the ventricular systole. Why means the blood have to pump to different parts, again that blood, deoxygenated blood should be carried to the auricles. So here it takes place 15 seconds more is taken place in a ventricular systole. So this is two phases, one is auricular systole and second one is the ventricular systole, and the third one we will discuss, that is the joint diastole. So coming to the third one, so here first sound is produced due to the closing of that is auricular systole, due to the closing of tricuspid and bicuspid valves, that is sound is a lub sound is produced, and the second sound is produced by closing of three seminal valves present at the base of aorta, and three seminal valves present at the base of pulmonary artery. The another sound is producing due to the closing of these aorta and pulmonary artery, the seminal valves present at the base of aorta and pulmonary artery, that is closing of another sound is produced, that is the dub sound is produced, DUP dub sound is produces. So here first sound is produced lub and second sound is produced dub, where here it takes place one is auricular systole is takes place 0.5 seconds, and ventricular systole will taken place 30 seconds. Next, the third one is the ventricular systole. Sorry, that is a joint diastole. A joint diastole. Joint diastole means the relaxation of auricles, and the ventricles. The relaxation of auricles and ventricles at one time is known as the joint diastole. Is known as joint diastole. Joint means here one time the auricles are contracted. Whether means when auricles are contracted, the ventricles are in a relaxed state, and when ventricles are contracted, the auricles are in a relaxed state. So that at one time, what happens, the auricles and ventricles are becoming into the relaxed state. So here simultaneously, that means auricles are contracted, the ventricles are relaxed in state, the ventricles are contracted and auricles are in a relaxed state. So here one time the both auricles and ventricles are belonging to the relaxed state. So this condition we can call as a joint diastole. That means at one time, that means simultaneously the auricles and ventricles are belonging to the relaxed state. So this process we can call as the joint diastole. So this joint diastole will be taken place. The time of the joint diastole will taken place 0.40 seconds. That means 40 seconds, 0.40 seconds. It is taken place the joint diastole. So here complete, if you see the complete the cardiac, that means cardiac, that is heartbeat. If you see here a cardiac cycle or heartbeat for 1 minute, that means here it takes place for one heartbeat, here it takes place 0.85 seconds is taken place. That is it is produced, that means from auricular systole, here auricular systole 0.15 seconds, and the ventricular systole is equal, that is 0.30 seconds, and a joint diastole. A joint diastole, it takes place 0.40 seconds. So if you see here the 5, 7, 8, 0.8 seconds taken place for one heartbeat. How much of time will be taken place means that is to produce one heartbeat, that is lub and dub sound is produced. That is first sound is lub and second sound is dub sound is produced. That is produced lub and dub sound is produced. That is one heartbeat will be taken place 0.85 seconds. It is taken place for one heartbeat. So here what is heartbeat means? The rhythmical changes or rhythmical cyclical changes which is taken place due to the auricles and the contraction of auricles and ventricles, then we can call as one heartbeat, or otherwise we can call that as the cardiac cycle, or otherwise we can use the word as the mechanism of the heartbeat. So this is where how the mechanism of the heartbeat is taken place. Next, coming to the rate of the heartbeats. Next, if you see in here the rate of heartbeat. The rate of the heartbeat. That means here heartbeat in a different organisms will having a different type of heartbeat. That means different type of for one heartbeat. Here how many heartbeats are taken place for 1 minute means here it is varies from one organism to the another organism. It is varying from one organism to the another organism. It is varies. For example, if you say in here a whale, here it takes place 15 heartbeats. That means 15 heartbeats per minute. 15 heartbeats per minute. per minute it takes place 15 heartbeats it is taken place and also if you seen here the elephant if it is taken place 40 heartbeats per a minute. If you see in here humans, humans, if it is taken place in humans, if it is taken place the 72 per minute, that means heartbeat per a minute for 1 minute. Here it takes place 72 heartbeats are produced. Or if you change a newborn child, here it takes place 140 per heartbeats, 140 heartbeats per a minute it is taken place. Otherwise if you see in here the rat, if you see in here rat, here it consists of more than 140, that is here it consists of the 200 heartbeats. Here it takes place the 200 heartbeats per a minute. If you see in here a sparrow, here if you see in sparrow, here it takes place the 700 to 800 per heartbeats per a minute. Here it is taken place. That means here the size of the organism, if it is varies according to the size of the, it varies from the size and shape of the an organism. Here the heartbeat are different, will be a difference. That means here smaller organisms will having the more amount of heartbeat. Why means here losing of heat is taken place. Due to the more loss of heat, here heartbeats are increases. So due to increasing the heartbeat, that means due to the heartbeat, more amount of blood is pumped, so that the blood will be distributed. That means heat will be distributed to different parts of the body. So that here it takes place in sparrow, it takes place a more amount of the heartbeat is taken place when compared to the whale and an elephant. Why means in more amount, that means the size is increases, here rate of heartbeat also will be decreases. Why means here the loss of heat is very less is taken place in larger organisms, but in lower organisms, that is not lower organisms, in smaller organisms loss of heat will be more is taken place. So due to distribute of this heat to all parts of the body, here rate of heartbeat is more it will be taken place when compared to the large sized animals. So here this is where it is taken place, the rate of heartbeat is taken place in the organism. Why it is small, why here you can get the doubt, why small organisms will having the rate of heartbeat is more when compared to the high organisms. That means if you see a newborn child will having here 140 heartbeats per minute. Here newborn child means here the blood, nutrients or oxygen or nutrients or food materials are passed or should be required for the growth and development. Here more amount of the blood should be supplied. So here a more amount of heartbeat is taken place when compared to the human beings, that is adult humans. So this is how it is taken place. Here in small organisms loss of heat will be more is taken place, but in higher organism loss of heat is very less. So due to that rate of heartbeat also will be less in number when compared to the smaller organisms. So this is where we can take place, that is the cardiac cycle, or otherwise we can call it as the mechanism of the heart beat or the cardiac cycle. That is rhythmical changes which is taken place due to the contraction of auricles and ventricles. This is known as the cardiac cycle, or it is also called as the mechanism of the heartbeat, where three phases: auricular systole, ventricular systole, and last one is a joint a diastole. These are the three phases where it takes place at 0.85 seconds is taken place to complete one heart beat. Next, we'll discuss that is the origin and conduction of a heart beat. Now, coming to the next one, that is the origin and conduction of heartbeat. The origin and conduction. Origin and conduction of heartbeat. So here, how the origin and conduction of the heartbeat is taken place means here how the origin of heart is produced. That means it is up to now it is a mysterious process. That means here we cannot know up to now we cannot know how the heart is formed in our body. We cannot able to identify that, but it is a mysterious. But here will shows that how the conduction of heartbeat is taken place. Here, based on the presence of the conduction of the heartbeat, the heart is classified into two types. Based on the conduction of heartbeat, based on the conduction of based on conduction of heartbeat, based on conduction of heart. Conduction of heart. These are classified into two types. One is we can call as the neurogenic heart. First one is the neurogenic heart. First one is a neurogenic heart, and the second one is the myogenic heart. That means how the heart is initiated or the stimulation is taken place. So here, based on the conduction, the hearts are classified into two types. One is a neurogenic heart, and the second one is the myogenic heart. So here, a neurogenic heart, the heart is if the heart is initiated, if the heart is initiated or stimulated, heart is stimulated, if the heart is stimulated by the neurons, by the neurons, if the heart is initiated by the neurons are the nervous system, then such type of heart is called as a neurogenic heart. So here neurogenic means here heartbeat is initiated. The heartbeat is initiated or stimulated by the neurons or a nervous system, then such type of the heart we can call as a neurogenic heart. This a neurogenic heart example we can take in place the species and amphibians and reptiles. And the reptiles. So here these are initiated by the heartbeat, or initiated or stimulated by the heartbeat is initiated by the neurons or nervous system, then we can call as a neurogenic heart. Next, myogenic heart. If the heartbeat is stimulated, if the heartbeat is initiated or stimulated if the heartbeat is stimulated by the muscles. Here muscles means which type of muscles means here it consists of the cardiac muscles. If the muscles, that means which type of muscles means if the heartbeat is initiated by the muscles, that which type of muscles means here that is it consists of the cardiac muscles are presenting if the heartbeat is initiated by the cardiac muscles. Myo means muscles. The genic means stimulating. The heart is stimulated by the muscles, that are specialized muscles are called as the cardiac muscles. So such type of heart we can call as the myogenic heart. So here in the myogenic heart, an example we can take in place the aves and mammals. The aves and the mammals are an example for the myogenic heart. So here based on the presence of the heartbeat, the hearts are classified into two types. One is neurogenic heart and also the myogenic heart. And here by the conduction of the heartbeat, these are differentiated into four phases. These are differentiated into conduction of heartbeat is taken place by four pathways. The conduction of heartbeat, the conduction of heartbeat, the conduction of heartbeat is stimulated by conduction of heartbeat is taken place by four pathways. So what are that four pathways means? The first one we can call as the SAN pathway. The pathway. And the second one is AVN pathway. The pathway. And the third one is the bundle of His. And lastly we can call as Purkinje fibers. Purkinje fibers. These are the four pathways which helpful for the conduction of the heartbeat. So coming to the first one, the SAN pathway. SAN means here sino-auricular node. It is also called as sino-auricular node. Simple we can call that as SAN, sino-auricular node, where this sino-auricular node is presenting, where it is presenting means it is present near to the right auricle, where here this that is the sino-auricular node which is presenting near to the right auricle. These SAN will also called as the pacemaker. It is also called as the pacemaker. Why the SAN is also called as the pacemaker means here it stimulates 40 to 60 heartbeats per minute. So that here will initiates the heartbeat for 40 to 60 minutes. So here initiating of the heartbeat, so here we can call them as the pacemaker. Maker means here it helpful for deciding the factor of the conduction of the heartbeat. So due to this here the sino-auricular node is also called as a pacemaker. Why means it produces the 40 to 60 heartbeats per minute. It is taken place. It initiates the heartbeat per minute 40 to 60 minutes it is initiating. So due to this here the SAN is called as the pace maker. So that which are signals which are produced by the SAN that are passes to the next pathway, that is called as the AVN pathway. AVN means here auriculoventricular node. It is auriculoventricular node. It is called as the auriculoventricular node, where it is presenting the in between the auricles and ventricles, near to the auriculoventricular node. That is in between auricles and ventricle, where the septum is presenting. In between the septum it is presenting auriculoventricular node, that is called as auriculoventricular pathway. And here this auriculoventricular node is called as pace setter. We can call as the pace setter. Why means it settles the signals. Why means here it produces 30 to 40 signals per minute. It produces 30 to 40 signals per minute. It produces signals per minute. So here what are the signals are produced by the SAN that are received by the AVN? So here we can call that as a pace setter. Set means it takes and settles and initiates the heartbeat. It setters. So here AVN we can call as a pace setter. Setter means it takes what are the heartbeat is initiated by the SAN, that is taken place by the AVN auriculoventricular node, and settles and passes to the next region. So that here we can call as the AVN is called as a pace setter, where it produces per minute 30 to 40 signals are produced per minute. Then that signals are passes to the next one, that is called as the bundle of his. Here bundle of his means these are passes through the ventricles, the fibers. That means the signals are passed to the bundle of his. From the bundle of his, here it forms into a network like a structure. From the bundle of his it forms a network like a structure. So that network like structure will be, that means from the bundle of his it passes so here if you take on this is here, this is SAN, and this is AVN, and this is passed to the ventricles. So this is called as a bundle of his. Where that ventricle, that signals are passed to the two ventricles. The two ventricles, it is the signals are passing. So this is called as a bundle of his. From the bundle of his, here it develops. It is divided into branches. And it spreads throughout the ventricles. So these ventricles, these are called as a network of like structures are passing. They are called as the Purkinje fibers. These Purkinje fibers will stimulate the heartbeat. That means what are the signals are passed from the SAN that are passes to the AVN, from AVN to the bundle of his, from bundle of his that are passes to the Purkinje fibers, where it helpful for the passing of signals from SAN to the ventricle. So here heartbeat is initiated by the SAN. So due to the initiating of the heartbeat by SAN, so we can call them as a pace maker also. So this is how it is taken place. That is, this is the process how the initiation of the heartbeat or conduction of a heartbeat is taken place by the heart. That is how the initiation of heartbeat, that means how the conduction of heartbeat is taken place by the four pathways such as SAN, AVN, Benlofis, as well as the Purkinje fibers. So due to this here SAN, AVN we can call as a pacemaker and a pacemaker where they produce signals. That signals are passes to the Benlofis, from Benlofis to the Purkinje fibers. These are passing. So this is how the conduction of heartbeat is taken place in the conduction of a heart beat. That is taken place by the origin and a conduction of a heart beat. So in a next class we'll discuss that is we'll discuss a double circulation. Here we'll discuss this double circulation as well as the blood pressures, and here the heartbeat is initiated. That means we can heard the heartbeat by an instrument. That instrument is called as the stethoscope. So with the help of an instrument, the heartbeat is initiated. That means the heartbeat can be able to sound by hearing an instrument called as the stethoscope. With the help of this instrument we can hear the heart. That is we can use the heart sound, can be able to hear how many of heartbeats are taken place per a minute. That will be taken place by an instrument called as a stethoscope. So that will be taken place. That means this is the process where their heartbeat is initiation of heartbeat is taken place. And in next class we'll discuss the structure, we'll discuss double circulation, blood pressure, that we'll discuss in the next class.